Let's get started. A welcome to today's Planning and Infrastructure Committee meeting of Ramsgate Town Council on this 10th of February 2021. Welcome you and any members of the public who may have joined us. So item 1, apologies. Do we have any apologies?
Chairman, you have apologies from Councillor Campbell.
Thank you.
And Councillor Rizeki, Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, right. Item 2, any declarations of interest? I'll take that as a no. We'll whiz through this. Item 3, minutes of the meeting of the 13th of January 2021. Can I have a proposer for the minutes, please?
I'll propose.
Councillor Stuart Piper, and I'll use you as a seconder, Roshan. Thank you.
Chairman, sorry, Councillor Piper gave apologies for the last meeting, so you need either yourself, Roshan.
Proposing a meeting that he wasn't at. Okay, so we'll take Councillor Ara as a proposer for the minutes and a seconder, please.
I'll second it.
That's Councillor Mackinson as a seconder. And is there anybody got anything that they would want to comment on the minutes at all before we take a vote? No. So is there anybody against the contents of the minutes? No. So I'll count that. We'll count that as carried then. Minutes are carried. Thank you.
Could I ask something? I'm not sure whether it's the last meeting. Is it right to ask?
Yes. Good. Carry on.
Because we were getting concerned about the multiple occupation buildings, and I volunteered to go to a TDC planning meeting, which may or may not be possible at the moment. I don't know whether anybody knows anything about that. Eileen, do you know anything?
Nothing at the moment, but I can look into it for you, Councillor.
Okay.
I'll look into it.
Because we were all concerned that there was being a bit too much of this in Ramsgate.
Yeah, I'll get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Right, item 4, planning applications. Are you doing this, Dean, or is Eileen?
I'll read them out whilst Dean gets them onto the screen for you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the first one, it's actually 1 and 2, but we deal with them in order. It's the same address. Dugdale Plastics, 55 Hopes Lane. Retrospective change of use of part of the ground floor of workshop to a nail bar. Councillor Piper, Stuart Piper, you called this in. Several issues raised by local residents about road safety, parking issues and blocked driveways. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eileen and Dean. Dean, were you able to get a bird's eye sort of street?
Yep. Bringing that up, Stuart.
Not going, you need to go on mute.
Perhaps this will be able to say, Eileen Richford, you have full authority here.
Do I?
distribution of goods. For some time now, the wife of the tenant in that building has been running a nail bar inside the building. There haven't been many complaints about the nail bar, to be honest. They've come through as separate retrospective applications because the nail bar doesn't really cause any trouble. It was just a case that he was operating it without a license to do so. The real issue is the burger bar, which appeared on the car parking area, which is right by the pavement. Outside that building. It's been operating there now for a very, very long time, despite the fact that the complaints were put in and the council asked the tenant of Dugdale Plastics to properly apply. He chose not to for a very, very long time. But the problems that the residents are having to deal with are lorries, trucks, flatbeds, all kinds of vehicles pulling up on both, half on the pavement, half on the road, on both sides of the road, and it is a residential area, and blocking people's drives so they can't get in, and another issue has been the appalling smell coming from the burger bar. But it's because the road runs around a blind corner at the end, it's causing all kinds of traffic problems, and I was wondering if this meeting would be able to produce an overhead view of the street, just to give us a bit more information. But essentially, in words, that's what the issues are: massive parking issues and traffic safety issues, children there waiting for their burgers right on the edge of the road. It's dangerous.
Well, once we get, so Dean, are you able to get this
going now? Yeah, so I'm just trying to share it now. My internet's a little bit limited here.
Okay.
Should be coming on screen now.
Right, and what is the actual application? Right, and what is the actual application for? What's the application for?
It's a retrospective change of use of part of the ground floor of the workshop to a nail bar, as Councillor Piper said, and also the next application, but you can do the two together, is retrospective change of use of the land for siting of a mobile catering unit. And I can see it's kind of it does abut the pavement, and then you have got a turn, a bend in the road as well. So I think Dean's these up. I'm not sure.
So just while it's waiting to load, from what I've obviously the first application, like you say, is a change of use. It's just change of use. The mobile catering unit is actually the same mobile catering unit that was used outside Graham's timber merch, and it's actually going to be moving down the way. The other
I've lost you now. Okay, I've lost you now.
The KCC
Dean said the catering unit actually was located outside a unit further along the road and has been moved to outside Dugdale Plastics. There we are. I think you've got that on your screens now.
Is that orange oblong where the mobile thing goes? Okay,
yeah.
I can see it now on the bottom bit.
On the bottom right, you can see the exact one that would be going along where the orange square is.
Okay.
Yes, it used to be, Chairman. It used to be outside Graham's Kitchens, which is right along the Tyson's Road corner, and it had to move from there for various reasons, and it just appeared opposite the houses on Hope's Lane without warning. It just appeared one morning. Head shop, you can see on that corner, and the vehicles park on both sides of the pavement all the way along the road.
So KCC's...
Okay, members, anybody got a view on this? Okay, members, anybody got a view on this at all, apart from Councillor Piper?
Can I speak, please, Chair?
Linda, please do.
You do. I have had phone calls from the lady where that burger van is,
Yeah.
and her concern, bless her, she's an elderly lady, is the parking and the rubbish. People stop and get their burgers there, and then they dump their rubbish on her side of the road, and obviously she's quite proud of where she lives. She's out there picking it up. It's terrible, really, and enforcement should shut him down because he shouldn't be there. And bless her, as I said, I get lots of phone calls from this particular resident, and she's at her wit's end. I mean, he could apply to move somewhere else, but not there.
I mean, I think personally. I think personally that it's detrimental to the street scene, and certainly its location is causing traffic highway issues. So I'm mindful to go along with Councillor Piper. Both Councillor Pipers in relation to this, and believe that we ought to recommend from RTC refusal of the sighting of the burger bar, whatever you want to call it, but have no objection to the nail bar.
Can I comment, please?
Who's that?
Councillor Crittenden.
Yes, please do.
Just to say that I know the area very well. I used to live in Rose Avenue, which the Councillor Pipers will know. It's very close. And one of the many drivers that have used that as a bit of a shortcut, that road. Yeah, it's not an appropriate place. It's not a good road. There is a very tight bend, as Councillor Stuart Piper has just said, that would make it unsafe. And I can imagine that it would cause a lot of traffic problems with people in that quite short stretch of road. So yeah. The objection.
So we have a proposal from Councillor Piper to refuse this. Are you happy that it's on the grounds of being detrimental to the locality and street scene, and also detrimental to the local highway and causing obstructions?
Agreed.
Anybody else? Anybody else have got a comment on that? No. Are we all in favour of that? No. Are we all in favour of that? Or is there anybody against the motion? No. So we'll take that as carried then. No. So we'll take that as carried then. Thank you very much, Dean, for that one.
Okay. Chairman, you've covered the first two, so it's the third application now. It's advertising directly opposite 349 Margate Road, which, as you know, that's opposite Hare and Hounds. Erection and display of two digitally illuminated advertisements display boards following removal of 5 advertising boards. So the old boards are going, they're going to put new ones in. The illuminance levels will be, this is Dean told me this, will be equivalent to the illuminance level computer screen. However, Councillor Stuart Piper's called this in over light pollution due to board sizes. Thank you.
So, Chair, I can add a bit more detail onto that. So the 5 boards that are currently there, the smaller boards, they will be, the 2 boards will be the same size as the smaller boards as existing, which when the plans load, you'll see. Quite rightly so, it's 300 candela per square metre. Average computer screen is 250 to 300. So let me just get the plans up. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. So on the right hand side, where the Now TV advert billboard is, it's going to be that size. Right. So I'll just show you the, obviously that's the location. So the top row is the existing and the bottom row is the proposed.
Yeah.
So as you can see, it's the exact same size as the smaller billboards.
Yep.
So there's one on the left.
Yep.
And then there's one on the right.
Yeah. Yeah. So the actual effect of the lighting of the screen in itself is not that high, is it? It's quite low. Not that high, is it? It's quite low.
I mean, it will probably be noticeable.
That's what I can make. I can make of that. And I take it, if my memory serves me correctly, is it not opposite the Hare and Hounds pub? And the only issue that I would have, because it's near the traffic lights, is whether it would be a distraction. That's the only a highway distraction.
Thank you, Chairman. That was one of the things. Thank you, Chairman. That was one of the things that neighbours of, particularly from Buxton Road, which runs behind the current boards. One of the things that they have expressed has been the concern of additional lighting right by the traffic lights. And secondly, those other boards, I'm not sure that this is a planning issue, but it's a concern that's been raised that those other boards have got shrubbery and ivy and all sorts growing on the back of them, and it affords a fair amount of security to the properties that are behind it. And their concern is that also has been raised has been the habitat for the birds and so on that live in it. And if those big boards are taken down, their concerns are what goes up instead. And as you can see, the other boards are much smaller and take up a lot less space. So it was really, I was calling it in to voice those concerns and really to find out if there was any more information about the level of lighting. I mean, if one computer screen gives off that much light, if you put 40 computer screens next to each other, surely you get more light than just the equivalent of one. So I'm not really sure that that measurement of light is satisfactory. I'd just like DPC to have a real close look at this from the safety point of view with the traffic light and an environmental point of view with the shrubbery and so on that will come down because it's grown, because they've been there a long time. It's all grown around the framework of the old signs.
I think what you've got to bear in mind, Stuart, is that the advertising company can take those hoarding downs at any time without any care or that there is anything there. There's nothing protected there. I do have concerns about the highway aspect and the highway safety aspect of its location. So I would certainly, whilst it has a if I could say, as an established use as an advertising site and has for donkey's years. I certainly agree with you, Stuart, that I think we should be mindful of asking Thanet District Council Planning Department to give more information in relation to and bear in mind the luminescence of this and its effect on the highway safety of the area.
Thank you. That's fine. Thank you. That's fine. I would happily second that.
Anybody else got any? Yeah. Anybody else got any comments, please, members?
May I speak?
Please do.
I first need to declare that I actually live very close to these buildings, and I don't know if that means I'm allowed to comment. But it does mean I can, or it does mean I can't.
It does mean you can comment. It's a planning application. Anybody can comment on a planning application, including yourself.
My concern is light pollution. I have a pet hate for light pollution, and I completely agree with the issue about the level of light with the number of equivalent screens that would be in that space. And I believe the distraction also unnecessary light pollution. And whilst the existing hoardings don't look that pretty, I certainly want to see more light polluting boards up there as an alternative.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Crittenden. Okay, thank you, Councillor Crittenden. Anybody else got any comments?
Yes, Chair, Councillor Wing. I think I agree. Yeah, we need to see what the light looks like. Are there any other examples in within Thanet that we could look at? Because it is hard to, you know, exactly that one computer screen is okay, but if you've got hundreds side by side, then the level of light coming out is bigger. Also, could we not ask them to replant trees along that whole area if once they take the boards down? Surely with planning we can make suggestions.
We can only do that if it's likely to be approved, obviously. But the facts of the matter are, in an advertisement application, from my history with planning, it's unlikely that you would get any landscaping going with that. But they do show a fence, and I'm not sure if the trees that are shown in front of the fence or shrubs as they may be are to be retained or are to be new ones. Certainly, I think, as you say, Becky, I think we do need some more information about this. So, Eileen, can I ask you if we could go back to Thanet District Council and ask what the luminescence of they state actually is, what is it equivalent to? Are there any other places? I can't think of any other advert areas, boards that would be similar to this in Thanet offhand, and also in relation to, as members have said, about the planting. So
is to be.
Say that again.
Then this
Luminescence.
Chairman, I've got all that. I can go back to Thanet for you and see if I can get some more information and come back to you as soon as I can.
Thank you. That'd be fabulous. Is everybody okay with that?
Thank you, Chairman. Stuart Piper again. Just one thing, which wasn't clear to me from what I read, but we might have it on the documents. There are similar screens up, of course, around the edges of Westwood Cross and by the Ford Motor place near Lidl, so that you do have these lit screens in various places. One of the things I'm not sure about is whether the images on these lit screens are going to be moving or not.
Exactly,
whether they're just going to be a permanent image or whether it's going to be like even if it's just a scrolling lit screen where the picture changes every 3 minutes or something. I don't know, and it didn't make it clear on the paperwork that on the comments that I received. Because moving pictures would be, in my view, much more of a distraction to drivers than pictures that aren't moving.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so can you ask that as well, Eileen, please?
I can, Chairman. I've written that down. That's fine.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you, Dean, for that.
No worries.
Okay, your final application for this evening is Royal Harbour Marina, Port of Ramsgate, Royal Harbour Approach. Application for prior approval for the erection and installation of one 17-metre high mast and associated equipment. Called in by Councillor Wing, effect on wildlife and residents and loss of amenity. Dean will get these up for you. The mast will actually be 7 metres shorter than the cliff top, and the cliff is actually 24 metres, just so that you get an idea of it. But it's shown quite clearly on the plans. Once Dean can get them up for you.
Thank
you.
Shouldn't be a minute. As Eileen's just said, it's 7 metres shorter than the cliff top. There is along there a floodlight overlooking the port, which is the level with the cliff top, so that's something to bear in mind. When the plans come up, I'll show you exactly where the plans are situated.
That floodlight's a pain in the arse, excuse me, but the lamps have moved up.
I'm not having this.
this one worries me. There's already permission for a 15-metre EE tower within the port that crept through a number of years ago without any of us being told. It's the use of permitted development rights with prior approval that I also object to, because according to the Town and Country Planning Act, anything over 15 metres should actually have a full planning permission. Prior approval actually means that it can be done without a full planning application, although the residents along there have been given notice that this is going up. And it's good to see that's what I couldn't see from the planning application, exactly how high the mast sat. But what we've got to remember here is the transmitter bit is actually going to sit at the top of that mast, and I believe it's going to replace the one on London Road, which, if you see, is well above housing, well away from the tops of trees, well above any potential for wildlife to be nested in trees. This, for me, is just simply too close to that cliff where we have a range of nesting birds. And although I don't buy into the David Icke 5G G5 scenario, I simply don't believe there's enough information out there to say that this will not affect wildlife in that area. I believe that the closer you are to the top of the transmitting bit of the tower, the greater the impact, or the greater the density of the whatever it transmits comes out, the waves or whatever. I'm not an expert in this, but I have to be located way too close to a cliff area where we have a significant number of birds nesting.
I take it this is a phone mast.
No, it's an EE mast. Yeah, it's an EE, a mobile phone transmitter.
It's a mobile telecommunications. Yeah. So under the Telecommunications Act, they have a right to erect these. But as you say, Becky, I thought it was lower than 17 metres, but maybe that's why they're coming in for prior approval instead of just sticking it up. Pardon me, but certainly.
The one at 15's already been given approval, so it's not clear whether this one is going to replace the other one. Either we're going to end up with two on the port because the other one's already got permission, and that's within the port.
You know how long ago that was, Becky?
I'd have to look. I just found it when I was obviously looking at pontoon stuff, so it was there and nobody knew about it.
Stop looking at pontoon stuff.
It's my favourite hobby.
I know that. Okay, members, anybody got any views, please?
Chairman Stuart Piper, it would be good, as Becky has said, if we had absolute clarity whether this is in addition to or instead of.
Yeah. Okay. I think before, obviously, I don't think that we could make a decision as whether we would put no objection or to object until such time as we have that. Eileen, can you? That's another thing to add on to the other one.
I'd just like to add that the vast majority of phone masts are put on roads. So the one on London Road, there's one in Westgate that I've seen, and they go up well above trees, well above houses. This is not going to do that because it's down in the port. Yeah. So it's, for me, it's way too close to birds, way too close to houses, way too close to people walking past. I suspect the only reason that's happening is because it's actually on TDC land, so they're desperate to gather the rent rather than allow it to be built somewhere else on highways. Where
there you go. That's what it looks like there. So, you know, I don't know why they want that there. As you say, if the other one's in London Road, that's quite a way away from that. But yeah, I think you're right. We need to ask. We need to know whether it's a replacement or it's an extra. So if we can find that out, Eileen, please.
Yep, I can do that for you, Chairman. I've made the note. That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. So is everybody happy with that? Well, if I say, is there anybody not happy with that? Okay, we'll take that. That's a no then. Has Richard not done anything then?
I can't comment.
Asking a question. He's got nothing to report. He can't do anything. That's all I say. That's all I say with that. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Is Councillor Green here?
He's
No.
not on the list, Chair.
Because Councillor Green asked me if he could put an item on the agenda, which I was happy to do. I said, providing he'd let you know, Eileen and Dean. So did he?
He did, Chairman. It's to do with a licence application in Harbour Parade for extending hours for New Year's Eve. I don't know enough about it.
I mean, the only thing that I could say...
I could probably fill you in on that.
Well, I was going to say, the only thing I know on that is that the police have made an objection. Personally, I've supported that objection, but I have to be careful because I'm the chairman I'm the portfolio holder of licensing, so I can't stick my oar in. But certainly, I think that the police will be supported in that, because I think what they require and what they're saying is absolutely right. We've got other places closing at 3:30, and they'll be the only one open late, so that would intend for people to walk down and congregate there during that time. So I'm guessing that's what Councillor Green was after BC making a comment on the licence application.
That's correct, Chairman. The opening hours they're asking for is until 4 a.m. and all nights opening on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
From the information that I've got here is what they're applying for.
Becky, did you want to say anything on that?
A number of residents made complaints as well, so I did have a long discussion with licensing, because I know how difficult I'm on licensing, and I know how difficult it is to actually refuse licences. But what happened is the resident was able to have a discussion with the broker, and apparently that is the way things happen according to licensing. So there may well have been some movement there, I don't know, but I'm sure it will come up to licensing. But I have concerns as well. Yeah. Thursday is not a very good thing in this town at all, but it's very difficult to prove where if it happens outside the bar, it's got nothing to do with that bar, so it's an issue on the street rather than in bars.
Yeah, but I think the police objection is in to the as to what is going to the man and woman power that it's going to take for them to do that at that time. So I think that's their main concern with that. So I think we covered that. Personally, I think we just let TDC licensing board deal with it. That would be my view.
Yeah, Chair.
Yes, Roshan.
Yeah, I am on the licensing board meeting next week on Tuesday, so the points are on the agenda. So we'll be discussing about it. Okay. We all are concerned about the timetable, and I think the resident Becky mentioned, we've been discussing with him as well. There's some residents who are concerned about the hours.
Well, you can all make your concerns heard there, and especially then taking our RTC's views forward as well. I think as a whole, I shall be watching you from afar. I shall be joining the meeting. So not to say anything, just watching how it all goes.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you everybody, and thank you for your time and your input. Hope you have a lovely evening, and see you all soon.